Hey, how's everyone doing? It's Indy here with Ultimate Tour Reviews. Well, today I want to show you all of the issues, all of the crazy stuff that actually can go wrong and has gone wrong for me, unfortunately, with my Thetford Aqua. Actually, no, it's not the Aqua 2, it's the Style 2 High White. This is the actual type of toilet we've got here. They did replace it with a new model number, guys. I'll put the link to Amazon in the description. You can check that out. It's essentially the same exact toilet as this one. It's what I installed instead of this one. I'll put that in the description. But this is the 42070. This is going to be a much older model. It's about 7 years old now on this one. They replaced with a new model. Pretty much the exact same thing. All right, guys, so let's start from the bottom up here, and be aware this is a little gross here. This is a 7-year-old toilet, so it's not going to be super clean, even though I did try to clean it out. So basically, a toilet in an RV is very similar to a toilet in a home, but not that simple, unfortunately. There's a few other things here, and definitely a lot of stuff that can go bad. So on the bottom here, that is going to be your waste chute, essentially there. And you have this seal. Now, this is a brand new one. Originally, and I'll get to this in a minute here, is that I was going to replace all of the seals and gaskets on this toilet and put it back in. However, I found another issue, which I'll get to in just a second, and I decided to replace the toilet entirely. Now, this gasket actually goes on the bottom here. I have heard a couple of places recommend that you use like a silicone lubricant to help this maintain a better seal, and that's possible. You can actually do that if you want. It's going to be a little tight the first time you put it on here, and this thing will slowly stretch out over time. However, though, I have heard it's a good idea to replace this seal every couple of years. I haven't actually seen any like leaking from this bottom, like water-wise, but I have heard that this can definitely leak, different types of gas, like anything from the black tank. So you definitely want to make sure that you replace that seal on the bottom here. Now, the seal is pretty easy to replace. It's just going to be 2 bolts to pull the toilet out. You then make sure, though, be very careful, you have your water off to your RV, because this is your water line back here. That also has another line to it, and unlike a toilet in a house, that water line does not, or usually does not, have a separate water shutoff. You can install one. I've got PEX B in my RV, so I could install if I wanted to pretty easily, but it's not really a big deal for me to turn the water off, so I kind of figured not really a big deal there anyways. So anyways, for a silicone lubricant, I've been using just 3-in-1 all-temp silicone. Again, link in the description, you want to check this stuff out. I don't put it on this. Don't put it on this where it's trying to hold on to the bottom here. I've just been putting it on the bottom lip here, and so when it slides onto the actual the toilet flange or the toilet flange gasket there, that is what you want to make sure stays sealed really strong there, because that is where you can definitely get some of the gases will leak out of the flange there. All right, moving on to the back here. This is where things can get a little tricky. I have actually seen a leak happen right in the step mechanism here. This thing is a pain in the butt to work on. I've tried pulling this thing off. You pretty much have to separate out the toilet to work on this thing. If it starts leaking here, honestly, if I get another leak here in my new toilet, I'm just going to buy another one at that point. I don't want to deal with this thing again. There's a lot of stuff back here that I wish was just better quality. They're doing it, of course, for weight savings. This toilet is pretty light, especially compared to a residential home toilet. Super light here. Now, of course, you've got all of these, connectors, and you got some of this, this clear PVC tubing here. That is, of course, what feeds your water from here up into the bowl. The step switch, of course, is going to be what turns on and off this water here. And back over here is going to be your water inlet. So very simple design here, of course, but a lot of points of failure. Every one of these connections, you can have a failure or some type of leak there. There is 2 connection points in here, which you got to be aware of. And I haven't had any issue with the actual piping itself here, but the little step switch here, I definitely have had issues with that in the past. Do I want to take that apart again? No. Some people can do it really easily. I've always found this thing to be really frustrating to take apart. But now, this is going to be a ceramic toilet, so your bottom here is plastic, your upper part is ceramic. To take that off, it's actually pretty easy. It looks kind of confusing at first. All you got to do is you got 2 bolts here, you got one here, one here. These just unscrew with a nice small ratchet, and then we can pop this toilet seat off here. All right, and then of course to remove this piece here, grab a nice big pliers. You can then squeeze down these little hose clamps. I found the easiest of these to actually take off is going to be the one that connects right to the toilet there itself. This one's pretty easy to get on and off. It's just a short little piece of pipe. It doesn't really get like fused on or anything crazy. It's pretty easy to get on and off. And I'm also getting a little lazy too. I'm just going to use an impact driver to get in there and get these bolts out really quick here. That's 2 is out. And this is going to be a 10mm bolt in there, in case you're wondering. Then all you got to do is, you can see how the clips are in there. This is going to be a rotate to get off. Just like that. And there you go. That'll come off just like that. All right, what we're looking at now is if you can do this and pull your whole toilet out to actually replace this seal, that's going to be the easy way to do it. I've seen plenty of YouTube videos that talk about, yeah, you can replace this without taking the whole toilet seat apart and everything. Not going to try that again. I was going to do a video on that, and I'm like, man, this is way harder than it looks to do that. And of course, this is going to be a common failure point when it comes to your toilet. I've had many conflicting stories of, hey, it's going to be the bottom seal, it's going to be the top seal. I kind of feel like it's definitely a combination of both. When I pulled this toilet for the first time, this entire seal was completely rotted away. No water leaking here, but definitely gas from the black tank could come up super easy. There was definitely very big holes in there, big cracks in there. Very, very easy to see that. This toilet, I think, has never been maintained, honestly, in my opinion, for 7 years. And this is what the toilet's going to look like here. Okay, so if you pull the toilet apart, here's how easy it is to replace that seal. Bam, comes out just like that. And of course, it's a little hard to shop for the correct seal. However, though, you can find them on YouTube pretty easily. I was searching the model number of this toilet. A lot of people then link, of course, in their videos to what exact parts you need. It's a little tricky, honestly, in my opinion, as a lot of these are very, very similar. Like this here is exactly the part I need. Be wary, though, that a lot of these seals, they do wear, so you might think, oh, it's not as big as a inside lip on this as this one. That's because that actually will wear away pretty quickly. So that goes back on there. When you get a new toilet, they actually use Vaseline on here to make sure this stays clean and allow that to have a better seal and lubrication. That's what I would recommend definitely using, is Vaseline. Very easy to apply, even if the toilet's all back and assembled. And of course, it's a very cheap lubricant to use. Works fantastic there. Okay, and here's the real reason I just replaced my toilet altogether. I could, of course, went through all of these seals, done a bunch of, work in here. What really bothers me, of course, is replacing this whole, valve in here, the whole kick thing. This thing can rapidly fail. I had it leaking on me initially when I bought the RV, so I had to do a repair on there. Super annoying to do. But actually, I've noticed a crack in this side of the bowl here. It's really, really hard to see unless you actually pull the bowl out. So I got the light here. You can kind of see that. It's really difficult until you actually pull it out, look really closely. I didn't actually notice it until I started feeling this. You can actually feel the crack right along there. So that's why I actually replaced the entire thing. And I figured, hey, for 200 bucks or so, I'll just replace everything on here and be good to go and not even worry about it. It also works significantly better. The new model is actually honestly well worth just upgrading. 200 bucks. Don't even need to worry about all of these seals. But for the most part, guys, if you're having any issues with gas from the black tank coming back in, it's going to be one of these two seals. First thing, of course, you can try is putting Vaseline in here and lubricating this. Now, you can't see all of this when you have the toilet still put together. Of course, you're only going to see just a little bit of this, but you can see all that debris, all that calcium buildup in there, all that junk in there. As that stuff starts to build up, that starts creating ways for air to come back in from the black tank. And you can tell very easily is if that your black tank or your toilet itself is leaking water into the black tank. What you got to do is fill up a little bit, and you can slowly see it go down, down, down. That's how you know this seal is going bad, or you need to add lubrication, one of the two. You, of course, can try both, see what happens there. But fixing the seal should fix that issue very quickly. While you're doing it at the same time, replace that bottom seal. Make sure this thing is nice and sealed up. I have heard of reports of people replacing this seal, putting lubrication on it, and of course holds water, but you're still getting a back gas smell. One of the big things that I discovered was whenever I drained my black tanks, my RV would just absolutely just smell like crazy, terrible, like the black tank, and I could not figure out why even after replacing that seal. It was this seal. That was the seal that was going bad. And of course, make sure you put a little bit of silicone lubricant on here to really give it a nice airtight seal. So guys, that is going to be pretty much everything you need to know about these toilets. When it comes to just seals, maintenance, everything, very easy to put this thing back in. There should be a flange, of course, and if you're wondering, hey, can I go from this old style to the new style that I've linked in the description? Yep, the flange actually fits these exactly the same. So no real issues there. And of course, whenever it comes to, putting them back in, also I want to mention too, before I go, the water line I got PEX B in mine. Now, I was putting this thing back in, and unfortunately, it cracked. Where's the crack here? Right here. I actually had it crack as I was putting it back in. Yes, I was using pliers, but I wanted to get like one last, half turn to snug it. It cracked it, and you can see that there's a bit of damage in here too. See that that seal in there? You can see that damage in there. This is a very simple fix. You work with PEX B. I did a video on PEX B in the RV. I'll put a link in the description as well for that if you want to check out how to replace this. Once you do this like once or twice, you can do these in like 30 seconds. I did this thing so fast. I'll show you the parts you actually need. Here's actually all the parts you're going to need to make that repair. You're going to need a PEX B cutter. You're going to need a PEX B crimper. And then, of course, always go for basically the best quality you can possibly find. Apollo or SharkBite. Apollo's at Home Depot. SharkBite's at Lowe's. You're going to need a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch FNTPT female swivel elbow. That is all these things are. And the ones you can buy at the home improvement stores are much, much higher quality than the cheap plastic ones they put in the RV. Of course, you're going to save money. And then finally, you'll just need one more little PEX crimp, and that is it. Super easy to install, super easy to put in. I can do it in like 30 seconds now. I've done it like a couple times now in the RV when I need to make plumbing repairs. PEX B is fantastic for making repairs. Super cheap, super simple, super quick. Well, guys, all right, that's pretty much it for when it comes to toilets. If you've done like residential toilets, you want to pull them on, pull them off. It's literally just 2 bolts, water line. That is it for these things. Super simple. Again, the one complex thing that I don't want to touch is going to be the fill valve here. I know it's not that hard to do, but it is just an absolute mess, a pain. I just don't like to deal with it. So one of those things that I just buy a new toilet if I have an issue with that thing again. It's just not fun at all. But other than that, of course, you guys, you got 2 seals in there, bottom seal, top seal. Make sure your top seal has lubrication. I see Vaseline in the brand new toilets, so that is what I'm going to use myself. The manufacturer is using it. That is what I would use. For the bottom seal lubrication, you want to use a silicone. That's what I've seen recommended by manufacturers. Some type of silicone lubrication for the bottom seal to keep that airtight. Both seals, of course, they can leak, not necessarily water, but they can definitely leak the black tank gas, and that can come back in. So relatively simple to take this whole toilet apart. This is the Thetford Style 2. And of course, they have many different types of toilets inside that range. But I'm just using a Thetford Style 2, and I'm basically staying with the high style. It's kind of weird naming on that, but the new version has like the new Aqua thing. I'll put a link in the description, guys. You can check that out. It's a simple, basically one-to-one replace. No big deal. No modifications needed or anything. And then, of course, to get the bowl off, very simple. You got 2 bolts on the back. You then untwist to come off, and you can replace that seal super easy. I'm not a huge fan of replacing it with everything put together. I tried it. I tried it, but I'm not doing that again. That was absolutely crazy to do that. And of course, you got to make any PEX B repairs. You got PEX B, very simple. Again, guys, if you owned a house before you have an RV, this stuff is all pretty easy once you get into it. If you're pretty handy with DIY stuff, pretty easy. But if you're not, this is actually pretty easy to learn. I recommend definitely giving it a shot. Buy the tools, and you can save yourself a bunch of money. So guys, thanks for watching. Take care, have a great day, and stay safe out there.